let's start with some of the biggest hurdles or biggest challenges you have faced in international SEO world till date, right? So let's start with that. So what are your challenges, Dani?
Definitely one of my challenges is the client. You need to think of like the German market. It's Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And we all speak German, but not. So if you ask the German, if the Austrians speak German, they would say, no, they speak something strange. And the Swiss are even worse. So you have, and a client thinks like the German would think like, hey, I have my German.de page. I can rank everywhere. It's German. Mm-hmm. But, well, we Austrians are a little bit closer, but the Swiss are like, well, that's it, German page. I'm not clicking there. So to explain client like, hey, it's not, even if we're speaking the same language, it's not like that easy. And especially in Switzerland, they have in their mind like, oh, we're just a national company. It's really very easy. And then you see it, look at their page and they need 4 languages. Because as we have French, German, Italian, and English is really important in Switzerland as well. You're just like, well, your website is not an easy website. And we can't just write a little bit German text and then just translate it with Google Translate or something. But that's a lot what they are thinking. And with international clients, I get a lot of clients, or at least or persons that asked me to help, that have automatic translation. Mm-hmm. They have the English site and the automatic translated site in German, which you can't even edit. So you can edit the English side, but the translation and some words. And then you're there and you read as a native through the page, and it's just like, the H1 is grammatically wrong. Mm-hmm. And then this word that you use that might make sense. I had one client that was really specific, and he used a word for it was about surveying. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand what he was talking about in German. I had to go to the English site and look it up to understand what the site was about. And I was just like, that's not working. But then explaining like, hey, you need to separate the German site. We need to make a local, really a translation that makes sense. So that's normally in my day-to-day work, the hardest part, to get the client to understand what's going on or what's it really about. It's not so easy like it looks in the first few seconds that they think, I'm entering the German market. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally feel you. I've worked, when I was working for Omeo and Trivago before that, we were also focusing on like all these markets, and how I know like how similar at the same time how different these markets are, right? So, and if you talk about like their search, their experience on the website, that's also very different, right? So Germans do it differently versus there are words as well which are different. For example, we have a special character called estet, which is double S, right? In Germany, you write it double S, which looks like B, right? But in Switzerland, it's written double S.
It's not existing,
Yeah.
My boyfriend is really happy about it because he's Spanish and he's learning German, and I'm from Austria. Yeah. And he hated that letter, and now we moved to Switzerland. He doesn't need to use it anymore. And my keyboard doesn't have it anymore. So I can't even write German anymore for the Germans.
Got it. So I think for everyone who doesn't like that character, that's a good motivation to move to Switzerland, right? If you want
not to Germany, not to Austria, to Switzerland.
Perfect. Yeah, I think localization is a big topic, and we will talk more about that. But before that, let's also ask Natalia what are the biggest pain points or struggles she has with international SEO.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest pain point, which I like that word a lot because it very relates to how I feel about many things in international SEO. I think my biggest one is that the world of Google, even taking away all the other search engines, just the world of Google is just not equal at all. Mm-hmm. And every single market has got very different challenges. And the smaller the market, sometimes more forgotten it is. So while we can preach a lot of amazing things they do in the US, and we can that's the groundbreaking strategy, the reality of SEO in markets like Chile, I have one client from there, is just completely different. Because very few tools have data. If there is data, almost no keywords have volume. And really basics make the biggest difference because you can't go as advanced as the US, replicate the same strategies and just expect it to work. And that's where backlinks have even more weight than anyone could imagine. So everywhere else, you're like digital PR, we don't do backlinks anymore. But the truth is, some markets are just working on backlinks. That's it. You cannot just not do it and expect to have any results at all. So it's very fun to be part of both worlds and read Spanish-speaking, sometimes from Latin America, resources on SEO, while also seeing the best practice from English-speaking countries, which very much differs. And the despair is just, huge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this topic is very serious, right? It also blocks us because if we don't have tools supporting or giving us data for our research, we would never be able to understand the market, what they're looking for. And if we're not able to do that, right, how would we basically plan something which we even don't know what is coming, right? So in these kind of cases, how do you, go with research and planning of, for those specific markets?
There's a lot of education towards the client to say that zero volume keywords are not a worry in some cases. Especially in markets like Chile, they just know that they are not being represented in the tools. And it's just being very good at many tool sets and understanding which one can serve you for which market. Because some tool sets are amazing for Eastern Europe, but not great for Latin America. While on the other hand, others are really good for that region for whatever reasons. So it's just playing a lot of fronts and seeing what works best each time. Yeah. And also, sometimes just getting back to the basics, not listening to the biggest trends, not going in for every new shiny object. It's actually working. The hardcore SEO that we know for years hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I have the same problem with Austria and Switzerland, as they are small markets. And it's in some tools, it's actually, you look at the search volume and you think like, do they just make half of the German? Like take the German search volume and put it half, and then it's the Swiss and the Austrian. So it's really, I'm actually testing a lot of keyword tools to find the one that's best working for Switzerland now. And in Austria, we actually, in the agency I was working, we had some projects where we actually just researched Germany, even if we wanted to for Austria, because it's more similar with the words. It's Switzerland is a little bit more different. But then really to get a feeling of what are the real big keywords and the really small one, because when you looked in Austria, it was just like 200 was the biggest one, and then 190, and you're just like, is this now a big or a small difference? So you had to look at the German keyword at the rankings to see like, okay, maybe that's more useful. But in Switzerland, it's not always working as they have different words, different language. So actually SE ranking is one of the best so far that I found for Switzerland, that I think like, okay, they have really more also of the niche keywords. Because I actually had to do a keyword research now for a really local project in Switzerland. And we tackled keywords that had 0 search volume. That was all we got. We had, I think, 1 with 10. And I was just like, well, I mean, the competition wasn't high. So it was just like everything we do better, which is everything we do, so will always have an impact. But still, it was like explaining to the client, well, I can't even say you will get like 50 traffic a month, because it's like, we will have to see what Google Search Console tells us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think first of all, SE ranking guys would be very happy hearing this, right? We just give them a shout out. That's what they're looking for, right? Yeah. And I think what we also have a very similar approach. So in some countries where we do not have search volume, we do not have enough data for our research, right? What we do is we go for a market which is closer to that, right? Assuming that intent and search style would be kind of similar, right? So we do that. And of course, I mean, if, it's a website which is there, for years and years, and we also have Google Search Console data, then we also take a look at that to understand what people are searching for, right? Because Google is smart enough, right? Talking just about Google here. So Google is smart enough to understand the intent and, semantics of those keywords and map them with the right landing pages. So yeah, that also helps, but it is, I agree with both of you. It is a problem which is not resolved completely yet. So yeah, hopefully, SE ranking grows further, and maybe other tools as well. They also, compete and give us the data and makes our life easier.
Yeah.
Cool.